So that's how you, with all that experience and doing all that, was what kind of inspired Make a Change World?
Yeah, so we literally took this environmental thing that we'd started as like young
Change
preteens,
makers, yeah.
14, yeah, so teens, and applied it to rebrand Make a Change Bali at the time to Make a Change World, a full environmental media outlet based out of New York, Paris, and Bali now.
So just to give the listeners some brief, what exactly is Make a Change World?
So Make a Change World is an environmental media outlet focused around making plastic pollution front page news. So we do that by going on the craziest projects out there, whether that's rowing down the most polluted river or running across continents. We want to make sure that politicians are hearing our message.
Yeah. So you and your brother are just doing crazy adventures all the time
and
videoing it.
Yeah, from one adventure that really inspires the next. And as you're literally on that run or on that kayaking down trip, you start thinking about those projects. And as soon as you sit down on your couch and are not doing an adventure, you're like, damn, I need to step out of my comfort zone again and go on another adventure.
So you briefly mentioned it before, how like growing up here and seeing the trash, that's what got you into the trash problem. But I'm just trying to picture the mindset of like a little 14-year-old. Everyone here grows up and sees the trash problem. And what differentiates you and made you think, okay, I have to do something about this, and your whole family, I guess. What made it kind of, what pushed you to get into that?
I mean, I guess it's that core love for the island. As I was describing it before, like there's definitely like an attachment to protecting Bali, to being a part of it, to feeling Balinese. Again, that French accent.
Feeling Balinese with a French accent.
But but truly Bali has touched us, and we want to protect it for generations to come. It's our home island. We can use it as a key pilot to show the world that we're a sustainable hub. And I think the process and the progress since 2009, when we founded Make a Change, has been so amazing to see, all these environmental movements start, from the Green School to so many innovators and entrepreneurs leading the forefront here on Bali. So, I guess, just that. But then when you start diving in deeper into the trash problem, you realize that it's just coming. And actually, since we produce 3 times more plastic than we did in the 80s, and that number is set to double in the next decade.
Oh, wow.
And so if you think about it that way, you see positivity all around you, and you make sure you're surrounded with positivity and solutions and a more optimistic view. But at the same time, we're just not owning up to the actual problem. And I think that there's so much to be done when you've seen a polluted beach or a river completely clogged in plastic.
Yeah, I think that's also important, is that as positive as we can be, like there still needs to be something done about it, right? You can't just be like, oh, something is being done. Like us as people need to step up to it as well.
Yeah, and I mean, plastics, was invented as this material back in the early 1900s as this very easy to use material.
Yeah.
It was cheap. It was super easy to transport, especially when they started switching glass bottles in the 70s to plastic bottles. But then as soon as that was introduced, it completely has changed how we transport goods, but more so how we consume products.
Right.
And now, when you look at a shelf, whether it's a supermarket or a pasar in Java, everything is wrapped in plastic. And
it wasn't even introduced here until like super recent, right? In the whole timeline of things. Yeah,
like I would say in Indonesia that really took off in the 80s, and then it's progressively changed within the last 15 20 years, where literally every product out there is sachets as we know it, in any warungs or whatever. So the human race has become addicted to plastic.
Yeah.
And the real big issue is that plastic will never go away. There's been studies out there that are entirely like everybody out there has plastics inside of their bodies,
really?
Or inside their brain, inside their blood
So
flow.
we do right now.
We do right now.
Wow, that's
Probably
crazy.
have a little bit more than you.
Just been here longer. Oh, and you're always in the river, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of information I didn't even know. That's crazy. That's why it inspires you to keep on doing what you're doing.
Yeah. And I guess also traveling down the world's most polluted river.
Yeah. And then that actually led you to meet the president, right? I saw a video.
Yes.
How was that?
Great
He's like
research.
one of my favorite people. He's so cool.
Yeah, super, super cool. But yeah, so going back, rewinding a little bit. So living in the US, being in New York after those internships, make a change to more of a media-oriented business or NGO or whatever enterprise. We started to think about how we could combine our passions of adventure with filmmaking and activism, and that is what really inspired the first expedition, which I did on the summer of 2016 with a couple of friends, and that was to go down the Mississippi River, one of the most polluted rivers in the world, on plastic bottles. Very inspired by Mark Twain's Huckleberry Finn. Not sure if you read.
I read it.
The epic novel of the US, but very, very similar. Made a junk raft for 2 months, except that we didn't make it ourselves. We had 2 Swiss engineers that some of our friends from Switzerland that we got onto the project, and for 2 months they crafted this amazing Swiss-made junk raft out of 800 plastic bottles. The sail was even made from all tents stitched together. We had a solar panel on board.
Wow.
And for 2 months, literally rode down the river from Minnesota all the way to the Gulf of Mexico, thinking, looking out for those big patches of plastic in our rivers to prove to the world that we need to start thinking on land where this problem is actually created.
Yeah.
So many people and so many movements back then, would be pointing the fingers to the ocean, not really knowing where it came from. But the truth of the problem, if we want to stop this constant flow of plastic, is stopping it at the source. So rivers, in a way, were the perfect connection point from the land to the ocean. And that Mississippi trip proved to be such a powerful, such a change. Changed my life. Sorry. That Mississippi trip changed my life forever, to see this idea of recycled expeditions.
Right.
We were literally a recycled expose, going from harbor to harbor, and we became like the gossip of that summer. Like we had a live tracker on our
Have you seen those 2 brothers?
We started like people would come along, meet us at harbors, just wanting to see the boat, just wanting to engage with us. And the amount of like generosity on the Mississippi, like I feel like rivers in a way, they bring people more down to earth, and a lot of river people are very like humble. They're super chill, very, very chill.
It's like life source, right?
Sometimes too chill. But we had a dude that literally like was following our live tracker on our website, and he pulled out like one evening as we were pulling off in this like remote island to moor for the night. Like the Mississippi was literally like, island by island, choosing where we were going to stay the night with our tents. But this guy like had been following us all day with the live tracker, and he comes out of the forest with fried chicken to feed us, because he's like, I've been following your journey.
Oh my gosh.
Just trying to feed. It's the best surprise of the night after a long day on the boat. So
you guys are the famous river people.